Afternoon. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Good afternoon. We are calling the council meeting on today, June 16th, the special council meeting to order. My majority leader is gesturing wildly to me. I'm not sure what he needs, but we'll figure it out as we go. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Present.
Councilor Anderbois.
Present.
Councilwoman Anthony is absent. Councilman Espinal. Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilwoman Graves.
Here.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Present.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Present.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo. Councilor Royas.
Present.
Councilwoman Ryan is absent. Majority Whip Sanchez. Majority Leader Taylor.
Here.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Present.
You have 12 present and 3 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the readings of the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Second, Madam President.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please read item 1 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the readings of items 1 and 2.
Second, Madam President.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Please note 1 and 2 as received.
So noted.
And Madam Clerk, please read item 3 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the readings of items 3 through 6.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Madam President,
Councilor Anderbaugh.
motion to amend item 4 in the way I'm about to describe.
Second, Madam President.
Please read the amendment, Councilor.
Awesome, thank you so much. This is a motion to amend item 4, section 9, adding in the sentence after where it says school safety initiatives, adding the sentence saying, beginning in FY 2024, 75% of revenue generated from the school zone speed cameras shall be placed in the revolving fund, provided that the pilot agreements exceed $7.1 million and shall remain at 75% thereafter. We will also add the phrase in the sentence that says help mitigate and reduce speeding, after that, and improve pedestrian safety.
Thank you, Councilor. Any discussion on that motion?
Madam President.
Councilman Sanchez first, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. So I would like to speak today in strong support of this budget amendment. My main philosophy and principal stance in supporting this budget amendment is to move away from punitive standpoint from the city. We use these funds currently 35% for traffic calming measures, and this amendment would move us closer to 75 for traffic calming measures. So the goal eventually is to use these funds to create our streets and sidewalks to be more pedestrian friendly and more safe for residents of the city. The goal eventually, I think, of everyone in this body is to move away from cameras. We should have streets and sidewalks in the city that are safe and designed in that way. So I would strongly urge and plead my colleagues to support this amendment.
Thank you, Councilman. Madam Clerk, please note that Councilwoman Vargas is here.
So noted.
And Councilwoman Royas, and we've got a little bit of a stack. Councilman Royas.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to voice my support for this amendment as well. Similar to my colleagues, when the speed cameras were rolled out, everyone I think in Providence felt that it was a cash grab, and many still feel that way. And these are initiatives that hurt poor folks in our city the most. And so if we are to say that speed cameras are meant to protect folks and much of that revenue is for speed calming measures, then all of that revenue should be, or most of it should be dedicated to that if that's what the purpose of the speed cameras are for. So I think this is a great amendment and I support it fully.
Thank you. Councilman Gonzalez.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the remarks that were made by my colleagues. I'd also like to speak on item number 3, if I may, at some point. Is this just a motion to entertain that amendment?
That moment is coming soon.
Great, thanks.
Councilor Anderwa.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I also just wanted to speak about this amendment and why we put this in today. I think we heard some really compelling public testimony about this exact issue at our public hearing this past Tuesday. That was Tuesday, right? Anyway, this week sometime. And just want to echo some of the things that my fellow councilors have just mentioned. The purpose of the speed cameras really is to increase the safety for our residents and particularly for the children in the speeding zones near the schools, not to play a game of gotcha with our residents. And so I would love to see us invest that money back into measures that actually increase the safety of our streets for all residents and especially through an array of different traffic calming measures. I also wanted to point out 2 things. One is that this only goes into effect if the administration is successful in securing enough pilot funds this year to cover this. We know that we negotiated the budget in good faith and want to just point out that this would be a change that would happen only in surplus of pilot. And the second is I really want to point out that through this whole process of the budget, it has been a priority or was a priority of, or it still is a priority of Chairwoman Anthony to ensure this was transparent and inclusive. We heard this testimony at the public hearing this week and received this in writing as well and wanted to be responsive to the really great ideas that we heard from constituents in this body. So that wasn't just an exercise of, we're going to listen but not do anything. We listened, we heard, it was really compelling, and really wanted to make sure that we continue to have this kind of open and transparent process in the budget. And so I think this is a really great concrete example of this transparency and dedication to inclusion in this budget process. So thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on the motion to amend item 4?
Madam President, could I just make one more comment?
Councilor.
I just want to call out Liza Birkin for all of her advocacy. I think when she had testified and brought this to our attention, it was so compelling, and I think it moved us in this direction. So if she's watching this, I just want to commend her for all of her work she's doing in the city. Really grateful for her.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Pro Tem Pichardo.
On the amendment.
On the amendment.
I just wanted to comment also in support of this amendment, hearing the testimony in Finance Committee, but most importantly, hearing from our constituents. I know that I heard in the South Side, in the West End, so many speed cameras, and to the point that the Councilwoman made, it's this gotcha. And how do we listen to our constituents to make sure that these dollars actually go and implement stuff that actually the community wants within their streets or around the schools. So
Thank you, Pro Tem. Any further discussion on the motion to amend item 4? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to pass items 3 through 6 for the first time on a roll call vote with item 4 as amended.
Second, Madam President.
The motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. Councilor Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank, first and foremost, the members of the Finance Committee, Councilor Anthony, who couldn't be here sadly, and Councilor Pichardo, Councilman Taylor, who stepped in as a pinch hitter, and also Councilor Anderwa and Councilor Sanchez. This has by far been the most transparent process, which entailed not only 1, but 2 public hearings, and I want to thank each and every member of the Finance Committee for pouring countless hours on the budget process, so thank you. I did, however, make my position on this issue of raising taxes on working people to my colleagues and my constituents very clear. I wrote that the principle that should guide decisions about taxes is a simple one, and that's fairness. And I wrote that in the Providence Journal on May 13th. While again, I think that this has been a very transparent process, I do not believe that we should raise residential taxes on people to cut commercial taxes. I think the decision to do this is unfortunate for the people we represent, and in a perfect world, I would have hoped that the pilot agreements would have been already negotiated so we could have arrived at a better revenue and levy outcome from compelling our large tax-exempt institutions to pay their fair share. So today I stand with the people I represent and the hardworking residents all across our city who are struggling to get by during a time of high inflation, and as such, I will be voting no on this levy. But I do want to thank the council for their hard work and their collaboration on this process. But again, I'm going to be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion? Pro Tem, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would like to begin by emphasizing the importance of transparency in our budgeting process. This year, for the first time, we held public hearings to gather input and ensure that the budget truly reflects the needs and concerns of our constituents. It was a step towards fostering greater inclusivity in our decision-making. We owe that transparency to our dear colleague, Chairwoman Helen Anthony, who could not be here with us due to the heart. My prayers and those of my constituents are with her and the family. I wish her a speedy recovery and a quick return to our chambers, whom she feels so passionate to represent her constituents in the East Side. I acknowledge the tremendous effort put forth by the entire City Council in conducting due diligence, especially the Finance Committee Chairwoman Helen Anthony, Councilman Taylor, Councilwoman Sue Andevois, Councilman Miguel Sanchez, for the countless hours of meetings, inquiries to the department heads, and careful analysis of the administrative budget that were undertaken to ensure that we serve our constituency effectively. Listen to the struggles faced by families, homeowners, businesses, children, and the elderly, and recognize the need to provide services at a higher level. We worked with competent staff who were always on hand and present to provide us information, such as the treasurer, internal auditors, who compiled data for analysis to ensure that we had the necessary information, checks and balances in response to the challenges faced by our constituents, including financial burdens with utilities, affordable rents, affordable quality, fair, equal housing. We made the decision to reduce certain taxes compared to what Mayor Smiley and the administration proposed. This decision was the result of extensive discussion resulting in consensus that will alleviate the burden on our residents and businesses. And I thank you. It is important to acknowledge that no budget is perfect. They are always a work in progress. There are many elements that disappoint some of us. However, I am honored to have the opportunity to work alongside every member of the City Council, where we share our life experiences and learn about the diverse impacts on our constituents. This shared knowledge has allowed us to make more informed decisions that reflect the interests of our community. Moving forward, I expect us to continue working together with a focus on equitable wealth distribution and keeping open mind. We must deal with the gentrification that we're facing in our city. We must remain laser focused on promoting fairness and compassion in our decision-making process. Every decision and vote we make should always be in the best interest of our constituents. In conclusion, I want to express my gratitude for the collaboration efforts that have gone into shaping this budget. Let us continue to work hand in hand united in our commitment to serve the needs of our community and ensure a prosperous and equitable future.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Madam President,
Councilor Reyes.
I just wanted to share a thought, and I think it is true that this budget is not perfect. And as we were having several meetings and trying to figure out what is best for the residents, and no one here, I think, wants to raise taxes on residents. But through that process, it is very shameful how our tax-exempt nonprofits, such as our colleges and universities in this city, that keep expanding, that are not paying their fair share in pilot payments. And so I want to just take a moment to say that your jig is up. I don't want to speak for folks in this council, but in my perspective, that's not going to continue. And part of that is that we need our state partners to help us out on that front. But to these colleges and universities like Brown, you need to start paying more. We are proposing, I think, in this budget around $7 million in pilot payments. That is a drop in the bucket. And our residents are not going to stand for it, and we're not going to stand for it. And so there needs to be significant action, and they need to give the city more. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Pro Tem and Councilor Royes, for sharing your thoughts on this budget. I'm just going to reiterate some of the comments I made during the finance meeting last Thursday, I believe. As a new counselor, this process definitely has been super interesting. Lots of learning has happened, lots of frustration at the same time. But what keeps me going is knowing that this is year one of 4. We're just getting started. We're gonna learn how to be part of the budget process, how to be a little bit more involved earlier on. Something that I've mentioned to different constituents, just honestly speaking, is when the mayor proposed the budget to us late April, early May, us counselors kind of had to be more on the defensive side, try to see where we could alleviate some of the costs that the mayor's proposal would have been put on the constituents that we represent. So during the, I think, 30 plus hours that the Finance Committee endured, talking to different departments, city officials, we saw some different changes that we could have made and that we did made. And although that, like my colleagues have said, that this budget isn't perfect, I will say that I'm not proud that we're raising the residential rate, but when we have a deficit, we have a responsibility as a city to do a balanced budget. And in regards to the commercial rate, it's no secret that we have one of the highest commercial rates. The mayor proposed decreasing it by $1.30. We're gonna do 30 cents. I think that's a reasonable decrease, especially when you think about the bodegas in your ward, the corner stores, the ice cream parlors, the endless amount of businesses that have been hurting the past few years. So when my colleague said that we're raising the taxes on the residential rate to cut the commercial rate, I would just strongly disagree on that specific point. And just want to thank my colleagues on the finance, the city staff, the city clerks have been there with us throughout the whole process. And I would strongly urge my colleagues to support this budget and be part of the process earlier on with us next year. I know the council president has mentioned tax commission. I think that's something that we're all going to have to fully participate on. That's something that's going to help us move the city in the right direction going forward. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on the motion to pass items 3 through 6? Councilwoman Graves.
I just want to add to what everyone has been saying. I think the pilot program, we really have to get some monies out of them. And hopefully, next year, we'll have that. I went through the process with the Finance Committee, I think you all did an excellent job. I have no complaints and stuff, and I know you had a hard job to do. The people in Ward 12 do not want the taxes, but nobody wants higher taxes. They do not see the need for, because when people hear commercial, they think of the big boys on the block. And there are a lot of them out over there that are going to benefit for this. But I agree, it's the small businesses. We have to come up with a way of capping it so that there's a certain group that we can make exempt toward it. And I know it can be done, you know, because we did it for the Affordable Care Act. We can do it. And I wish that we will do it next year also so that we won't be penalizing those small businesses and we won't be giving money to the bigger ones. So all in all, I've been sitting one way or the other and it's been racking my brains and talking to all the different people. I am gonna go with this budget only because I think you worked out an excellent deal with bringing the things down. I think you did the best that you could, or we did the best that we could with this budget. I just know that there are gonna be people that are really gonna be hurting from this, and it's gonna break my heart, you know, a lot. And I have to look those people in the eyes and try to explain to them what is going on. And that homesteaders thing is still a big issue in my community. So, John, I understand where you're coming from. I really do, you know, because I feel the same way. I feel like, you know, people are going to look at us and say, why? But we have to explain that we did the best that we could do with what we had, you know. But I think your commission will be an excellent step. And I think from now on, we need to get it a little bit earlier, like one of my colleagues said, and just dig in and be a little bit more headstrong and let the chips fall where they may.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further discussion on this motion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Aye.
Councilor Anderbois.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony is absent. Councilman Espinal.
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves.
Nay.
On all matters?
Yes, because we're voting as a collective here.
Councilwoman, hold on. Councilwoman Graves.
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo.
Aye.
Councilor Royas.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan is absent. Majority Whip Sanchez. Majority Leader Taylor.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 12 ayes, 1 nay, 2 absent. The motion carries. The matters are passed for the first time on a roll call vote with item 4 as amended.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to suspend Rule 16B of the Rules of the City Council in order to take a matter not appearing on the printed docket.
Second that motion, Madam President.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item number 7.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? It's been made in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Madam President, if there is
Oh.
no...
Madam Clerk, please note item 7 as received.
Thank you. Yes.
Madam President, if there's no further business, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned. I hope you'll take a few minutes to stick around and look at the wonderful exhibit that the city archivist has put together in celebration of both Pride and Juneteenth. Thank you, everyone.